1080p versus 4K. 4K sounds better, sure, but is it really better when we're talking about a cell phone versus a DSLR? Good question. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Devo here. And something that I've seen a lot lately is talking about cameras, and cell phones specifically, because they're getting so good. Are cell phones going to kill the market for mirrorless and DSLR cameras? Do we no longer need to have a professional camera to get good video and good pictures? Well, that's a very good question. I think the picture quality is definitely bigger. You get larger pictures of a higher resolution with a nice mirrorless or DSLR camera, especially if we're talking about full frames, but we'll get into that in just a minute. But as far as video goes, my camera that I have is the Canon SL2. It's a fantastic camera. I love it. I have zero complaints about it. It's an awesome camera. It's so good. When I'm using it for video, if I want to get a little bit of slow motion, I can crank it up as high as it goes to 60 frames a second. And so it'll give me somewhat of a slow motion effect if I want in 1080p, because it does not record in 4K. The phone that I have is the LG V30. That does record in 4K. It also records slow motion, but that's only 720. But it'll shoot up to 30 frames a second in 4K. But is that better? 1080p versus 4K. 4K sounds better, sure. But is it really better when we're talking about a cell phone versus a DSLR? It's a good question. The thing that I feel that it may not be as good as the 1080p in my DSLR is because of the sensor size. That's really where it comes down to, is the sensor size. Now, the sensor on the LG V30 is about 1/3 of an inch. It's said to have an aperture of f1.6. Now, the sensor on the Canon SL2 is about 1 inch, and the aperture is, well, whatever lens you put on it, that dictates the aperture. Right now I'm at f4, so I don't know, is it better? Let's see a comparison. Let's just go ahead and draw a line right down the middle, and let's take a look. We have 1080p Canon SL2 over here. We have 4K LG V30 right over here. Aperture is f4. Aperture is 1.6. Is the background blurrier on this side than it is this side? Let's swap them. Now we can give a good comparison. Does the quality look better here than over here? I don't know. Let's go and do some video tests with this. I'm gonna shoot the same stuff, 4K on my phone, 1080p on my camera. We're gonna videotape the same stuff, the same frame rate. These are both shot at 24p, and let's see if there's a comparison, if there's any quality loss, or if it looks good. We're also going to use different lighting conditions. I'm going to do some outside, some inside, some with bright lights, some with low lights. Let's see what happens. So, to my surprise, when reviewing both of these clips side by side, there wasn't as much of a difference as I thought there was going to be. I thought the 4K was going to be crisper in some aspects, but also lacking some detail, just because the sensor is so much smaller. But is this really what they're saying? Are cell phones going to be taking over the market for cameras? Maybe on a basic consumer level, sure. Maybe for content creators, people doing YouTube, things like that, but they do lack quite a bit of variety. It is more affordable because everybody has a cell phone, and if you have a cell phone, you inherently have a camera, and a camera is always on you because people go everywhere with the cell phones. However, you don't have the interchangeability of the lenses. You don't have all of those different features, adjustable aperture, quite like you do a lens. At such a low aperture, my cell phone should have blurred that background a lot more, get that nice creamy bokeh, but it didn't. It looked very similar to my kit lens that I'm using at an f4. So could you use this as an alternative if you don't have a mirrorless or DSLR camera? Absolutely. These phones are fantastic for video, but I personally will continue to use my camera as much as I can because it gives a little better step of quality. I saw in the room there was more noise with my cell phone, and that's simply because the sensor is so much smaller. If I had compared my camera to that of a full frame, the sensor in a full frame is bigger than my sensor, so there would have been less noise than my camera has. So the sensor does have a huge role that it plays in it. But overall, whatever you want to use to create, I guess do it. I used my cell phone for a long time before I got a camera, and I actually still use my cell phone sometimes. I thought my phone was going to look a lot worse when compared to the camera, but it didn't, and I think that's really cool because since I do rely on it sometimes, now I don't worry about quality loss. But anyways, let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think the camera outperformed the cell phone, or do you think the cell phone did better than the camera? And also, if you found any value in this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to it, and don't forget to ring that bell. That way when I do upload videos, you'll be notified. Can't go wrong with that. But I'm gonna get out of here. I have a dinner date tonight, so as always, keep creating. Cheers.